Do you ever judge anyone? Or am I the only one? Do you ever find yourself in a situation where you have a cycle of it, where when you're thinking of others, it's comparison? Sometimes we have this as a tactic because it feels good, but it's so insidious how it can trap us in a negative cycle. Like so many things initially. This feels positive. I'm putting myself in a superior position here. We're trying to move in a positive direction in life, right? And so sometimes things that are making us feel stronger, better, have to be very insightful, very thoughtful. Cycle of judgment can circle back around and turn into self-judgment. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever judged yourself harshly? If we're trying to move forward on a path of health, we don't want to be limiting ourselves in any fashion. We don't want to be bringing judgment and negativity. We want to bring every cycle feeding forward positive into light and love and joy, wellness. Okay? The cycles of judgment, whether it's external or internal. Easy to fall into, can be hard to get out of. And I think so many times we think of it as, oh, it's not a big deal. We think we're sending this out. Today we're looking in the mirror and we're saying, how much of this are we actually practicing? See, this is the awareness. We're not turning away from any difficult thing. We are trying to overcome every barrier in our life. If we're moving on a health path, we're moving down a weight loss path. You think, what is the barrier? The barrier is the calorie. Okay, that's level 1. Okay, level 1 is just like a superficial look at it. It's not that there's no value. You say, okay, we need to eat less calories. Okay, we open up some fasting space. That's what I help people try to do here. Fasting space can be one of the very most pleasant ways to eat less calories because we flow through that space. We do some pleasant thing. No counting, no math. Looking for a flow state. When we think about flow state, we think about moving through a space, carefree, no limits, joy, no struggle. This is the type of space we're looking for. Do we get in our own way? This is what I was talking about the other day. So often we get in our own way. We get in the way of the body. Body knows what to do. Body knows where energy is in the body. For example, fasting space showing us. You get out of the body's way, it can burn up a problem that we're facing. Now we can do that emotionally too. Today we're going to try to dig deep into an emotional space. Think about judgment and what can it do to us. Reading from this beautiful book, The Mountain Is You. Brianna Weist says, we all know that gossiping or judging other people's lives and choices is not a healthy or positive way to connect with other people. However, it does far more damage than we realize as it sets up barriers to our own success. If we feel bad about not being as successful as another person, we might try to find something negative about them to make ourselves feel better. Have you ever done that? I know I have done that. If we do that every time we come across a person who is more successful than we are, so that's the cycle we can get in, the pattern. We can begin to associate that level of success with being disliked. Whoa. When it comes time for us to take action, to move our lives forward, We're going to resist doing it because becoming more successful will create a breach in our self-concept. How does that hit? How does that sink into you? How does that feel? I was reading that and I was like, whoa. That's getting to this deep space of self-sabotage, right? We have talked about that. That's like what this book is about how do we really move forward in a powerful way. Why do we not move forward when we really want to? What are the deep emotional spaces that keep us stuck somewhere? And we've said, okay, it's one thing to bring awareness. How do you actually change it? This is what I say the process is, a big part of it. When you bring awareness to it and realize how has our self-concept that they're discussing, how has that developed? How have judgments that we have made about other people, even about something positive, something that we want, did we bring judgment out of an impure place, out of envy? And is that judgment that we made in the past, maybe it was years ago when we didn't know, how has that circled back around into our subconscious where we say, oh, I really don't know if I'm ready for that, because we brought judgment on something else in the past, and now it's circling us around and it's holding us back. To me, this is what is so deep about this. She goes on. When we set up judgments for others, they become rules that we have to play by too. How many rules have we set up for ourselves based on judgments that we made, maybe not even out of malice, but yet we made them and they're hanging out there like this giant checklist, all these rules. By judging others for what we don't have, or because we envy them, we sabotage our own lives far more than we ever hurt anyone else. We limit ourselves, we trap ourselves in a box with it. This is what I was thinking the most about. Like, didn't we do a talk somewhere in the fall on, weight loss freedom, about like getting out of rules, no rules for weight loss? We definitely did that one, right? That so much of the thinking is about trapping us in little boxes. Can only do these things, and we could turn any practice like that. You could turn a fasting process into something like that, rigid and dogmatic, feel trapped in a space. To me, fasting is openness. That's what I like to say. Fasting just opens space. And so I don't like to contain it or hardly even define it, other than saying, like, to the extent that it benefits, There's benefits to structure. There's benefits to routine, but only insofar as they open up the ability to flow through a space joyfully and positively, full of curiosity. Never in a way that is judging ourselves or anyone else. This is where it dives really deep in this section. Listen to this. Many people say you have to love yourself first before you can love others. But really, if you learn to love others, you will learn to love yourself. And isn't it the practice of non-judgment that is helping to extend love to people? I might be in this first sentence. They say, many people say you have to love yourself first before you can love others. That sounds pretty good to me. I might say that, but it's a cycle. What I'm seeing here is a cycle, right? And you move in a loving direction in any way, it's gonna flow back around either way. So to me, it's like a loop. show love to yourself. I do agree with that. Can help extend that out. And if you're struggling with that, that's not an easy thing to do. Do you feel that way? Do you find it hard to show love to yourself? Practice showing love to others. Bring that back around. It's like the golden rule, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated as the practice that you're showing to others, and then cycle that back around. Hope you're doing so well today. Practice non-judgment through non-assumption. Instead of reaching a conclusion about a person based on the limited information you have about them, consider that you're not seeing the whole picture and that you don't know the whole story. You know, I was writing notes to myself while I was reading this in the book. So what about things where, because, you know, a lot of this focus in this writing is on envy, and that we can judge people that we envy. There's all kinds of other ways that we can judge people, though, I would say. I was like, how about, you know, I was writing people hurting someone else. Say, there's a totally different emotional space. You can see somebody is hurting someone and say, we want to judge this person. Say, that feels a lot better. You know, but even in that space, this is showing us. Doesn't mean you can't take action to stop someone who is being hurt. But like, let's look at the deeper level even there. We don't know this person. We need to help. And how do we help? Is judging always the way to help someone? Does that also cycle back around? Instead of helping, we judge. Do we treat ourselves, you know, the same way? A lot of these things are a cycle. They say when you are more compassionate about other people's lives, you become more compassionate about your own. When you see someone who has something you want, congratulate them even if it feels hard. It will extend back and open you up to receiving it as well. To me, that last phrase kind of circles back into this. All these things, I think, circle back with judgment, especially on that envy sort of side. This is the sort of thing. We're on a health process. You can just envision the hypothetical scenario. Someone has gone through a process. They have, you know, done something that we're trying to do. They lost weight. They did accomplish some sort of goal. If we bring judgment or envy into it, we can subconsciously then be carrying that baggage, the judgment, that can keep us from actually being one of these anchors, you know, the weight that we are carrying. We're trying to let go of everything that is holding us back. See, this is looking toward the light. This is keeping the positive energy flowing. Congratulate. Make sure we're keeping every positive thing flowing out. Congratulate the people, even if we're envious of them, right? This is, how do you counter envy? Like through gratitude, right? Through bringing love and light to it. We overcome the darkness with the light. Then, instead of that negativity that we're sending out, flowing back and holding us back, we want to keep that positive energy flowing. Then it can circle us up, can circle back, extend back, open us to receiving it. When all the judgment is gone, right? All the emotional barriers that we have built up for ourselves based on a lifetime of difficulty, we say, hey, I am letting go of all of that. And I'm just bringing the love and joy and positivity to it. From a space like that, that's what I say. If you are feeling, maybe you are in a space, you say, I'm not in a cycle like that. Hey, find gratitude for that. Just recognize the danger of moving toward it. Hey, this could be like a warning. Be like, whoa, this is something that holds a lot of people up. I'm going to stay far away from that. Or maybe when you can think deeply, you're opening up the journal, you're writing out, you're taking some just open space for reflection. Can you see in that space? Can you look for it? Say, is there spaces where these judgments are hiding? Maybe they're hiding decades ago. Can you find them and say, you know what? I didn't need to judge that person. I didn't need to be so harsh in that situation. Can you get into that space and break that cycle? Maybe it has been coming back around to you for so long, and you say, hey, I'm stopping this now. And do you find a lightness from it? Anytime we can extinguish, it's like, think of these processes have been running. Is that part of what is building chronic stress? We keep all these judgments going. Like, do you ever see it on the computer? You get into some activity monitor, like all these processes, like if you haven't reset the system in a while, like every time you open up an application, you know, it's like, I'm not a computer guy, okay? But like all these processes running in the background, and sometimes you turn them off, you shut the app, you close the stuff down, but sometimes there's little processes still running, and it's just taking up all the bandwidth of the computer, right? And it's slowing down. You're like, man, how come this system is slowing down? It's like just not working so well. It's like, you know, you click, things aren't going. You try to open the app, it's loading, everything lagging. Sometimes what do you have to do, right? You just have to do a hard reset. You got to shut it down. Reboot, right? I think this is what happens. I think this is what can happen in our life. It's like, you know, life is difficult. Life is a struggle so many times. We encounter these situations that are difficult. We flow through them. Maybe we have certain habits or things, you know, that we do to cope with a situation that helped us in the moment, you know, but then they became habits. And over a long period of time, this is like our computer analogy, like we just accumulated all these processes that are running. Something happened, we judge. Something happened, we judge. We encounter a scenario, we think, and we accumulate this stuff running. And I think that's sometimes why we can feel stuck in a space, why our energy maybe is depleted. Do you ever feel like your mental, emotional energy, it's like, man, I am just like running along on a low bars on the reception, right? How do you reset that, you know? This is the real goal to me. This is what fasting, to me, fasting in the body can be a reset physiologically for the body. It's like we need a reset physiologically. We need a reset mentally, emotionally in our being. Fasting like a portal, like a door that can help us get into that space if we need it, if we're open to it, if we want it. We say, hey, I'm not in that zone. Okay, it's just showing us as a mirror. We see, well, we can do it. Like, what does it mean to open up space, to rest, and to rest from hanging on to these things? Find them and let go so that we can really reset. A reset in the body. I mean, it's just amazing that you can do it. To me, this is what insulin resistance is showing us. Like, to me, there's mental, emotional parallels for all these things physically in the body. You say, I want to experience some resetting. Like when you give space physically in the body for a fasting space, you say, look, there's reserves of energy in the body. We want to utilize those. Instead of bringing more physical energy into the body, we want to give space so the body can use the energy that's there. Stop running all of these physical processes in the body that we keep doing, like the conveyor belt of energy that is always flowing into the body. Can be like a weight sometimes. Like we need it on the one hand. We need nutrients, okay? We recognize that. But also we recognize the need for balance. So we want to recalibrate. You can't just take the body into a recalibration shop. You know, don't you wish that the primary care office was like a car mechanic and they could just go in and actually, reset the system and actually, But it's not like that. I think we think, I'm a primary care doctor. Historically, I ran a large primary care office at the university for over 12 years. I wish that my practice was like that. I wish this was like a mechanic shop. I wish people just come in and I give them the tune-up and they walk out just like a new person, oil change and everything is better. And I think we kind of think of it like that, but it isn't really like that. This is why what really is more like that is to open up a fasting space in the body and to open up a meditation space in the mind. These are the two practices that really are much more like that. Because we don't have the diagnostic tools. Like you take your car to the shop, they got that little gadget that can hook into the electronics, reading all the sensors. They can figure out what is wrong. And then they can do certain things about it. Now, we go to a primary care office, we got labs, we can test things. But here's the thing. The body is reading those same labs. The body knows. This is what's so amazing. You don't have to run a lab test for your body to know what your potassium level is. Body knows, kidney knows, brain knows, and it is the thing that can adjust. And then across every parameter, body knows so much of what is going on. One of the things that we have failed to appreciate is how much work the body has to do to run all of our food processing system. It's a huge effort. I've seen statistics somewhere between 20 and 30% of the energy that we get from our food, it just powers the digestion of food. Isn't that amazing? It's like it takes a lot of work to do that. It's like we eat something, we say, oh, I got energy now. It's like, yeah, but like you're doing a lot of work to get that energy. And that is diverting resources from other things that the body wants to do to get into that resetting space. When we open up that space, okay, energy is still there. Body can go into this resetting zone. When the blood sugar is coming down and the insulin is coming down, is what is in resetting insulin resistance. I like the analogy of a callus. It isn't really like this in the body. Exactly. But you get a callus, right? If you're working with your hands, you're always grabbing things, lifting things, carrying things. You have a very physical job. You're going to build up thick calluses on the hand, right? Because stuff is always rubbing there, and the body wants to protect the hand so you don't get blisters. It's tough, it's strong. Okay, now you go get manicures every day and wear velvet gloves around and never touch anything. Okay, callus is going to go away. A couple weeks, callus is going to be gone. Think about the cell in the body. Think about insulin resistance. When we're always consuming and insulin is always high and it's always working, you can think about the cell. It's like building up calluses. It doesn't really build up a callus on the cell, but the idea is the same. We can think of it that way, that the insulin, right, it's jamming the energy into the cell. There's more energy than we need. It's jamming it into the cell. And eventually the cell is like, they don't need any more. If we're always accepting the energy, it can be damaged. Cells can be damaged by too much energy. And so they building up the callus to protect the cell. Always the insulin is hitting us. We're like, we don't need any more. See, now the insulin isn't working as well. See, this is like a defense mechanism of the cell protecting itself. How do you reset that? Look at the reset we did for the manual labor. Velvet gloves and a manicure, right? It's like, callus going to go away. Look at the resetting space for insulin resistance in the body. Insulin resistance, if you're not aware, underpinning most struggles with weight gain. So if you're trying to lose weight, anyone who is overweight has some level of insulin resistance in the body. Is the hormonal structure of the body determines how calories are processed. Have you ever struggled with this? You wonder, how come my friend eats whatever they want and they're lean? How come like I eat like one thing and it seems like I'm gaining weight? Okay, yes, calories are important, but hormones control how calories are processed, and the hormonal states can be different. And the knee-jerk reaction in society is to say, well, that is genetic, and some people just genetically, the hormones are such and such. It's like, listen though, we have spaces and tools and practices that can help us reset these things, and it can change. This is what the fasting space is showing us. You give that space, you let the insulin level drop, all of a sudden it's not hitting the cell, all of a sudden things reset. Then the insulin works better. And that is the type of process we go through, and I'm showing the same sort of space we can get to in the emotional space. Maybe we have been in cycles where the insulin of our emotional space is judgment, right? Where it's just judging and judging and judging things. We say that's not a healthy thing. That's not a positive cycle. What is the callus we build up with that, when always the judgment is happening? Think of our emotional cell building up this resistance to it, okay? So we want to reset that. This is why the fasting and the meditation is so much the same. How do you get into that space? Open up the awareness, open up the space, identify the judgment. Maybe those cycles been running in the background for years and years and years, and we finally do the reset to stop. We say, I'm shutting that off, I'm shutting that off. Doing both of these things at the same time can be, an extra powerful thing to do. Open up the physical space, because we are a mental, emotional being. Like our mind and body at the same time. Clear out all the distractions, both physically and mentally. Right? Distractions in the body are off. Body doesn't have to be focusing on digesting food. Everything in our being can be focused about rest, repair, rejuvenate, reset. And then the phone is off. All the distractions are off. We open up some space just so that we can let these processes wind down, so we can have enough mental bandwidth to open up that we can even see them. So much of the distractions in life, like we're in attention economy, right? It's like, oh, here's a flashy thing. Here's a flashy thing. I'm watching this highly edited video. Is keeping our attention, right? We say, oh, that was entertaining, okay? But when we're entertained, isn't it harder to do? We're not doing deep work of shutting off negative cycles if we are just entertained. We gotta remove the distractions to do the deep work that can really propel us forward powerfully in health. You want to totally have a hard reset in life? Maybe I call it a soft reset. Maybe you're in the mood for a soft reset. Say, how do I just gently start saying no to some of these cycles that have hindered me in the past, so that we can open up space for something new and better? Yeah, absolutely. Like resetting and centering the nervous system. We were talking about this yesterday. I showed you the video I recorded yesterday. I hiked out into this beautiful frozen lake while I was up on a little ski trip. And man, I experienced that getting out there. The nerves, I was just, you kind of feel it. Even there, I was trying to relax, a little mini vacation. But to be in a space that's totally quiet, surrounded by pine trees, some gentle breeze, you say, like, this is like, I was so grateful for it. I was like, this is just one of the most beautiful spaces, but it was just hard to sit there. I just, like I was saying yesterday, have to feel like, oh, I gotta at least walk somewhere. I gotta do something just to sit and just be for a little bit and breathe. But then you can feel the nervous system. You really can. For me, it takes at least 10 minutes, in that sort of space. After kind of 10 minutes of saying, no, I'm going to commit to being here, then I kind of center in. It's like a real space. Then I'm like, oh, I'm okay here now. Like I can be here a bit. And it's always, interesting to go through that. Then I feel, oh, I'm starting to be present. We can talk a lot about, it's one thing to say, live in the moment, be present here, don't be somewhere else. But then do we actually take time to experience it? Because so many times we say, okay, I'm going to be here now. Yes, I'm here now. But then we're off checking the email and we're seeing the phone and we got to, social media is a thing and someone texted and it's just like, it's very hard to be present, like really present in a space like that. And then there's a barrier to it because like you try to get to a space where it's like, okay, we're really grounded and present. Really? Society would come into that space and say, sounds pretty boring. Right? Pretty boring. I am not entertained. Right? I'll just tell you, boredom is underrated. Like we have misunderstood it. See, if I'm bored means nothing happens. But like what I'm seeing, especially from my experience this weekend, hike out into a nature, sit in a most beautiful space, even hard to be there. Take 10 minutes where I say, oh, I am bored. Like I'm saying, I need to be doing something. Like get the nervous system to settle down. Realize what we perceive as boredom is like the barrier to entry to a really profound space. That's the actual mental resetting space. I'm loving this thought. I got to capture it. Okay, like the physical space, the barrier to a fasting space, feeling hungry. You have to pass through that space, and then you find a space on the other side where you're not hungry anymore. Amazingly. Look at the parallel in the mental space and the emotional space. We have like attention is like, or a fear of boredom. This is like the corollary to hunger. I need to think about something. I need some sort of distracting thing. What does the social media say? What is online? Like I need to click on something, right? Like that's like hunger. It is like a type of hunger, right? It's like we want to consume something. That's a mental, emotional hunger. You got to get through that sort of space to flow through into a space where you say that hunger is gone. And then it's the opposite. Like you can get into a fasting space, you went through the hunger space, you feel your energy increased actually. You realize, oh, my body is functioning at a higher level here, like we're doing something really positive, okay? Then you get into the emotional corollary. You're like, oh, I was feeling this kind of craving or compulsion to have to distract the mind. It wasn't settled. You feel it in that nervous system. Take a big deep breath. Let the negative energy flow out. And you flow through that. See, then you're not going to want to go back. When I started at the lake, anxious, have to do something, fidgety, feeling like, I wonder, do I still have a signal? I could, get on my phone. I could do something. Okay, no. Then by the time I was done, I made it there. I stayed 90 minutes. I stayed at the lake, just hanging out, watching an eagle, watching the trees flow with the wind. Then I didn't want to leave. That's the other side of it. I don't want to leave this space. This is about the most calm and centered that I have felt in months. A definite reset. So reset the judgment, reset any negative thinking that we have in these spaces. To me, that's the type of core work and experience that really can help us move forward on a health path. The basic information, of ways to lose weight is not that complicated. Simple. That's why I call it simple fasting. Don't worry about counting every calorie that you eat in a day. Just count the number of times that you eat, and those numbers can be very small. Like one, can we just count one? That would be an incredibly powerful thing. Or we count 1, 2. That's a type of math that I like. Very simple. 1, 2, 3. Okay, no big deal. It's okay. We just work in that sort of space. And then when we're eating, hundreds of diets, right? Hundreds of different perspectives on eating, so that can feel overwhelming. Here's the simple rule, okay? If it didn't exist 100 years ago, just don't eat it, okay? You say, if every human being that ever existed until 100 years ago, however many that could be, 1 trillion people, didn't have this, you say, I can't feel too deprived. Every other human being up until thing didn't have it, okay? So it's just natural whole foods that come from the earth in a natural way. And you do that once, do that twice, okay? This is a type of routine you can definitely settle into. And you say, when that is feeling good and I'm start moving my body in the healthiest ways, taking a walk, just doing anything, say, that just feels good. Doesn't have to cost money, doesn't have to be anything. Just say, in that space, do you experience that? You take a walk, right? That you can feel better, you feel more energy, you're moving the body. That it not only physically is helping the body, but what a great space to process things, to come up with fresh ideas on a walk. Take a walk good, and also sit is good, right? That's my experience. Like when I was going to the lake, like to me, the easy path too was like, oh, just keep walking, just keep doing, but also time to stop. To just enjoy a space without having to do anything, Give space. Like I love that analogy from the other week, giving space to let the garden grow, okay? Certain environment have to be present to allow health and flourishing to happen. Make sure we're providing that environment. The water, for real. Staying hydrated. Flush out every toxic thing. Provide the nutrition, provide the space, bring in space for just joy and fun, In the ideal world here, I would say weight loss process should be fun. I love the thinking we did the other day. I did the talk on that awesome study from the New England Journal of Medicine, a vision of a fasting-based healthcare system. That wasn't even my vision. I tried to articulate it. But the vision coming right out of New England Journal of Medicine, some amazing researchers saying, man, we need like fasting centers that would be multidisciplinary spaces full of every different kind of health professional, psychologists and nutritionists and doctors and nurses and everybody. And then what I would add to it, the vision I would have, is musicians and artists and theater, and just like to make it fun. I was like, man, we want to create a vision of health and healthcare that is so much more fun than what we're currently experiencing. Wouldn't it be great? Like, shouldn't we be able to happy our way to health? I would just love it to bring, because so often we're punishing our way to health. We're saying, like, you've got to hit these targets. We turn our lives into numbers. It's like you have to be do. And what if the experience, like to me, just neutral would be an improvement if we could be like, like just to flow through a space where it's like things are just okay. But then let's open our mind and say, hey, what if things could be so much better? What if it could be fun, you know, and joyful. See, this is what would make things so much more sustainable for people. You know, it's like, man, I go to this place that is like healthcare, and I was like, it's just joyful. It feels rejuvenating. It's like people happy and positive. Is like, you know, the especially from the fasting perspective, people in society see, oh, fasting is a deprivation, like we're just sitting moping around all the time. It's like, oh, have you gotten into the space? Like there's energy there, there's positivity there. It's like, and it's a powerful space. And like we have to reframe and understand it so you realize, no, you can get into this space and flow through it in a positive, fun, joyful way. Really nice to share this space with you. I hope you have a beautiful day. Think on these cycles. Letting go of judgment so that we make room for something so much better. I will look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.